Alps cold, or is it the Himalayan Alps?
Yeah, right. Didn't we decide that?
Well, the Alps are in Europe. Appalachians are here, but are you like that cold? Like,
I'm not that cold, but I'm cold.
have you ever seen a Yeti? Have you ever seen a Yeti live or a Sasquatch?
No.
I feel like in your travels, you're a very like traveled person.
A traveled
You're
person.
always like doing something.
I am. I'm very active.
So I figured someone had seen the Sasquatch. It would be you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Michigan Cannabis Industry Association CannaCast. I am Ida Pearl-Lee, the Deputy Director.
And my name is Jay Jones. I'm the Membership Director here at the MiCIA. We're coming live to high atop 101 South Washington Square.
Suite 820.
It's a beautiful day. We got a lot going on this week, Robin. A lot happening in the news with some of our members and nationally with cannabis. I don't know.
I'm Ida, by the way.
What did I call you?
Robin.
Okay. We'll talk about Robin later. She's our executive director. Anyways, so I don't know if anyone listens to NPR, reads NPR on Facebook. They published a story from Planet Money about legalized states and how cannabis has affected. You know, the stereotypical thing is that we get pushed back against.
Yes.
So it turns out there was zero effect on crime. It didn't go up or down on violent crime or any crime whatsoever. And these were mostly from Colorado, California, and some other states.
Nice.
They have Michigan on there. But legalization has had zero effect on traffic accidents and fatalities. We're not suggesting that you smoke a joint while you drive, but just be careful.
The statistics are out there.
Yes. So legalization, this is surprising, barely affected the price of legal cannabis. So in California, the prices leveled off. They went up a little bit. Then they leveled off at $260 ounce. And now they're at $250. One of the biggest things out of this story was cannabis legalization nationwide has created 321,000 jobs. 77,000 of those were created in 2020, a pandemic year alone.
That's amazing to hear.
So big shout out to MiCIA and Robin, our executive director, for declaring us essential services in the state of Michigan. That's the direct impact right there.
Yes. Yeah. So true.
A little bit more of a fun story. One of our board members, Jerry Millen, who owns the greenhouse in Walled Lake. I don't know. This actually made international news. It was picked up by the UK Telegraph and some other organizations out there. So there was a little bit of kerfuffle back in, I believe it was late February, early March, where some Girl Scouts, being the entrepreneurs that they are, were selling cookies outside a greenhouse. Jerry was all for it. We're all for it in the industry. Turns out the Southeast Michigan Girl Scouts came in and said, wait a second, this is against our policy and you cannot sell there. So you or the other groups, you're all gone.
Right.
So they since have reversed that decision.
Nice. That's awesome to hear.
Sherry ended up buying 300 boxes of Girl Scout cookies from that group. They ended up selling 1,000 boxes in 6 hours outside of the greenhouse in Walled Lake. So way to go, Jerry.
Awesome, Jerry. Congratulations.
Little side note about the Girl Scouts. So I lived in Savannah, Georgia for years, and I would walk past their headquarters. That's where they were founded every day on the way to work. And you know, we're the drug industry, but these little pushers are out there.
Selling sugar.
You want a box, you know? And of course I'm going to buy it. Who isn't? Who's going to turn that down?
Exactly.
Ended up gaining about 40 pounds that year. So
that's what sugar will do.
This is Ida, who makes me eat like wheatgrass every day at lunch. So there you go. That's the news, guys.
Yeah. So today joining us, we have a very special guest, Brant Johnson.
Awesome.
Brant, how are you doing today?
Wonderful. Yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, Brant. So
thanks for inviting me.
We're so happy to hear you. Thanks for having you here. Thanks for being here. So, Brant, I apologize. I'm a little late to the game, the Brant Johnson game. Can you tell me a little bit about Brant Johnson and Associates? I know every time I've talked to Robin over the past couple of years, whenever we talk about licensing, taxing, social equity, Robin always brings you up as the go-to person. So I know that's a lot in that question, but if you can just kind of expound on that a little bit about what you do.
So Brant Johnson and Associates, we provide services, a wide variety of services, but in the cannabis industry, we provide licensing, we write applications, we have participated in lobbying municipalities to get local ordinances that favor cannabis industry. We have contributed to writing ordinances to local municipalities. We consult people who want to embark on the cannabis industry. We have assisted them on the locals end where they can secure their certificate of occupancies or special land use permits. We assist them all in the state level so they can get pre-qualification and they can get the actual license from the state of Michigan. We also help people in disadvantaged communities get involved with the social equity opportunities. As you see in Detroit City, that's a big thing with social equity and their Detroit Legacy program. But that extends to Flint, that extends to Saginaw, that extends to, other communities beyond Detroit. So we help people secure those benefits. I guess we're kind of a one-stop shop. In addition to that, Brant Johnson and Associates, we do tax preparation for individuals, small businesses. We've helped a lot of people in the cannabis space with their tax issues. And we do bookkeeping for, it's been mainly restaurants, but we do monthly bookkeeping for restaurants and financial services on that aspect too. So we're busy.
Wow. Yeah, you are.
For sure. Can I just ask a little follow-up on that, if you don't mind? What do you see? So I live in a prohibited community. What do you see the biggest pushback from local Michigan communities against allowing, my community voted 67% to approve cannabis, yet declined to have any cannabis business. What are you seeing out there?
Well, I could answer that in a number of ways, right? But I'll give you one example. Eaton Rapids, which is very close to Lansing, and it's its own municipality. It's a city, and I had been advocating for cannabis in Eaton Rapids, and the response that I got directly was, if people want to get their cannabis, they can go down the street to Lansing and get it from there, right? Yeah. Because when the industry started and their rules weren't set, there were a lot of dispensaries going up everywhere. And because of the proliferation of dispensaries everywhere, it kind of, and I hate to use this term, it kind of tainted the communities. It kind of tainted the cannabis industry.
Yeah.
And other communities had the disposition of, well, I don't want my town to have a whole bunch of dispensaries, especially down on Main Street or especially down on Michigan Avenue. And so they saw what was happening in Lansing, and they were afraid that the same things were going to occur in their town, regardless of whether the cannabis stigma was there or not, which is a taboo still in some communities. They just were afraid that there will be a proliferation of dispensaries in their town, not understanding, in my opinion, that they, at the time, could limit whatever they wanted. Yep. And a lot of them are growing to that understanding but they still have not even understood the difference between medical and adult use. So I think it's the fear of all the dispensaries that went up initially that scared municipalities away, in addition to, just not a thorough understanding of the industry itself from the medical aspect to the recreational aspect.
That's a great answer. Thank you.
Interesting. Yeah. Yep. Brant, our executive director used to tune into 96.5 and listen to your political updates. And she said you always kept it really real. That you had a way of telling it exactly how it was. Did you receive any flack for your outspoken voice?
Oh, yeah. Especially from friends and family.
Those are the worst critics.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you do your best to be honest and not necessarily trying to be provocative, people will agree or not agree with you, and when they don't agree with you, you hear it, and I overall I receive good reception in my listening audiences, but there have been moments when I couldn't leave the house for a couple days. But it's fun, and it's entertainment, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's one part that people just don't understand. It's entertainment. I got to give you a reason to call me, right?
Exactly.
But I'm going to tell you what's on my mind, and I think that's what made it so compelling was I wouldn't sugarcoat things. And there have been moments when, I couldn't leave the house for a couple of days, but I thought the idea of an open forum radio show was at least for the host to be honest, and that's the only way I could give it to them, and there it is.
There it is. Nice. How did you come to be a local radio celebrity? What does that dynamic look like?
Well, that just happened. I did radio when I was in college, right? I started at MSU on WLFT. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it. I don't think anybody ever heard of it then when I was on the radio. but it's an AM station on the radio, a radio station that MSU owns, WLFT, which can only be heard on campus. And then I moved to WDBM, which is the AM signal on MSU campus. So I did radio while in undergrad. So I had a hunger for that. And I just happened to secure a job at WQHH, which is 96.5. I started off, as a production assistant. And, time flew by. I started to work on my craft, and I got a radio show. And at the time when I was a popular personality, that time slot between 2 and 6 p.m. nationwide became like a talk of the town time slot for a lot of formats. And it just so happened it was the right timing for me.
Sure.
And it just happened. It just happened.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. Then I built relationships. I built political relationships, so I was able to get the mayor on and things of that nature.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how long were you on the air for then in total?
20 years.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
That's
It was
awesome.
wonderful. It was wonderful. It was wonderful.
A way to broadcast your voice and get it out there.
That was my past life. No.
That's awesome. So, Brant, you do your monthly Zoom meetings. You do licensing. You talk about social equity, things like that for your clients and friends. Why did you decide to start those?
Well, in the minority community, and I'll include not just African Americans. Oftentimes, minority communities miss out on business opportunities because of lack of information.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've spent the time and the effort in the industry to learn and to be a part of the beginning of it, I wasn't going to allow lack of information keep my community from participating. So I thought it was incumbent upon me to have forums which to teach people about the opportunities in the cannabis industry. And it just, it was predominantly attended. They are predominantly attended by African Americans, but women are on it too. And for an industry that is generating over $100 million a month, right? There's space for everybody.
Sure.
And I tell them all, hey, you don't have to, Jen, you don't have to get $100 million. An extra $100,000 a year will do fine, right? An extra $20,000 a year will do fine, right?
Exactly.
But here is the information on the industry and the opportunities for which you can participate. And if you want to know how to put it to paper, if you want to know how to execute it, I'll teach you that too. But I do not want my community to miss on an opportunity for lack of information.
Absolutely.
That is so important. Thank you for your work.
That's
amazing.
Really awesome.
Yeah.
So if someone were to get involved with that or were to want to get involved with your monthly Zoom meetings, how would they go about doing that?
Just email me. They can email me at jonberi@aol.com. So it's johnberry@aol.com. Don't ask me why it's that. It's been that for 100 years. I know it's AOL.
No judgments.
No
Trust
shame
us.
Man. It's all good.
See, when I was on the radio on campus, my radio name was Barry B.
Okay.
So I tried to get Barry B AOL back then, but it was taken. So all I can get was John Berry. So it's been like that.
Nice. I dig it.
That's cute. Can you tell us what some of the barriers are for the entry for social equity applicants? It seems like there's quite a few hoops that they need to jump through.
Well, excuse me. First and foremost, it's hard to find old documents.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care who you are, right? And five consecutive years is difficult. People don't usually keep documents no more than 3 years, right? I myself, as a hoarder, I got stuff for 20 years, right? But most of the time, people don't have those documents available, right? And then some banks will, charge you an arm and a leg, for documents. Some utility companies may not have those, and you may not have lived in the same place in that municipality for 5 years. And in the case of Detroit, right, they want either 10, 13, or 15 years, right,
Wow.
of consecutive residency. So that's the toughest part, is to find documents to fulfill the requirement of residency. The second part is, and I'm going to be honest with you, right? I'm going to be completely honest with you. Some people have difficulty reading. So they need help. And they don't know where to go to get help to understand what the rules are. And that's not making any judgments upon people. That's just a reality.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes just the ability to comprehend the instructions and the ability to secure documents, will turn a lot of people off.
I can understand why. Goodness.
Absolutely. That's yeah, that can be heartbreaking, I'm sure, for many people.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're talking about disadvantaged communities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, we're not talking about Okemos, right? You know what I mean? You know, most of the people in Okemos have college education, right? We're talking about disadvantaged communities who can participate in social equity.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
lot. So kind of on that, Brant, you've been involved in a lot of different political issues and have been, are obviously outspoken on so many different things. Kind of a two-part question. First, which ones are the most near and dear to your heart? And then secondly, with the current political climate, what motivates you to continue to stay in the political arena?
Well, I mean, I've always been a believer that you can't make a change without voting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very important for people to be somewhat in tune with, the political arena as to, where your tax dollars are going, right? And whether, if you don't vote, then, you forfeit your opportunity to, make a change. So I try to stay in touch with the political aspect of society because, one extra vote on an issue could change, your taxes, could change your ability to participate in the cannabis industry, right? Can change a lot. So, I have found it important to stay in tune and stay in touch with the political climate because, um, control is could be dangerous, right? So you want to be a part of, what could control you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm. Brant, we know that you're a real mover and shaker behind the scenes. You get a lot done and you're really humble about it. Why do you continue to do what you do?
At least, if there is a funeral for me, at least someone could say at least one person could say I helped.
That's awesome.
I mean, I used to tell my employees at the radio station, and it's a very ambitious world, right? Where, people, egos are big and people want to become the next, whomever. And I would tell them that your success is contingent upon someone else's success.
So true.
Wow.
So if I haven't helped anyone, what have I done? Like they say, a man walking, what do they say? What is it? A king with no followers is just a man walking by himself.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Well, Brant, last question, but first, I just what a pleasure we've had talking to you today, and just what an inspiration, and I definitely you make me feel like a slacker, for sure. So, given that you have a super diverse background of different endeavors that you've succeeded at, what's next, man?
Home in Florida? No, just kidding.
Why not?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
That's what they're there for.
It's God's plans, right? And by His graces that I'm here with the opportunity to talk with you all. So, I am venturing off into ownership myself, and I just hope that I can live long enough to enjoy the fruits. I'd like to teach one day. Mm-hmm. It's just a blessing of God to give me this opportunity right now, and is in his hands. I just try to do my part.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, again, we appreciate you, all the hard work that you do and all the different lives that you're touching and helping. And that's really commendable.
It really is.
Thank y'all. Robin, I think the world of.
She thinks the world of you too. Oh yeah.
And I thank you too for taking your time to speak to me.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure having you on our show today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brant.
Call me anytime.
Absolutely.
Let me know.
Oh yeah. I see you Monday, actually.
Yes. God bless y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye. Well, that's our show for today. We want to thank everyone for joining us. But before we go, we want to give a shout out to our ancillary member, Phenologic. They make fertigation a seamless and automatic process. Phenologic's smart fertigation systems are designed and prepared to deliver a user-defined fertilizer recipes across any number of feeding zones. Contact them for all of your gardening needs. And next week, we have Ryan Basor with us.
That should be very awesome.
Yes, that'll be a good interview.
Sure.
You know what? Real quick, I want to say last night on Facebook, I saw Lighten Up Provisionary Center is offering a veterans discount, 25%, I believe, the first and third Friday of the month. We just want to give a shout out to them, helping our veterans with PTSD, and we really appreciate that. And that's a good move forward.
Starts this Friday.
Yes, this Friday.
Yeah, it starts this Friday.
Yep, you need to bring in a photo ID with you and prove that you're in the military, and you'll get a 25% discount.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
So that's our show for today, and we will see you all next week.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.